Insta360 has shown me just how great a companion app for a camera can be. It can have wireless monitoring, remote triggering, quick access to lots of settings. It's a really great tool and can really enhance the use of a small camera with a small screen just like this one. And relatively, Z6 II, Z7, they also have relatively small screens with tough OSs. And when you can make a good companion app, you can expand the capabilities of your camera. However, I feel that Snapbridge actively brings down the Nikon Z6 and makes it so it is lesser than and less useful than it could be. Obviously, there's great things that it can do. I find the Bluetooth remote to be the most useful thing. It connects reliably, it doesn't interrupt your Wi-Fi, but it is missing some key things that I really think it should have to make it great. When I downloaded and opened the Insta360 app to use with my 360 camera, I was blown away by how useful it was, how quick it was, and how every time you open the app, the camera connects and it's ready to help you do whatever you need to do. Whereas every time I connect to Snapbridge, I get a headache and I'm likely not able to do what I'm supposed to do. But yeah, this kind of settings update failed. I don't know what that means. I just want to connect my phone to my camera and then be able to do whatever I need to do with it. This is bad. It's just there's no options here. This interface makes no... Cannot start movie, remote photography, select P, S, A, or M. Why can't U1 be a movie shooting mode? There's nothing to scoff at, right? This is something. I've got a wireless monitor built in here. I have touch to focus. That's pretty cool. Can I get it to touch to focus anywhere else? No. Now we're out. Connection type changed again. That's a just... This is how I feel every time I use Snapbridge, and that's why I don't like it. Every time I open the Insta360 app, there's all these fun, I mean, they're ads, but there's fun ads like encouraging you, like, here's a cool way to use your camera, here's a shot lab, here's people using the camera in the wild, here's tip videos. Like, it's a joy to use. Every time I open Snapbridge, I'm sad. It's Sadbridge to me because I don't like it. And full disclosure, I updated my phone to the newest operating system, iOS 16, before Snapbridge can issue an update or firmware upgrades for the camera, and I fully take responsibility and understanding for that. But guess what? In all my tests today, I'm using the exact same upgraded phone with the Insta360 app, and I'm not going to run into any issues. That's just how it generally works. I understand Insta360 is a smaller, hungrier company that makes all of their money off of social media production types of things, but if the Z6 II wants to compete, and especially cameras like the Z30, which they brand as social media content creation machines, if they want to survive, they need to adopt some of these things. Don't advertise it as a content creation machine if you're not going to work well with a smartphone. So what are some of the things that I would like to have happen in order to make the Z6 II a better social media camera when using a smartphone? Well, the first thing I would do is take the Bluetooth remote and just refine it a little bit. When you open the Bluetooth remote, you get a bunch of glyphs and symbols, and it's basically an empty screen for the most part. I don't find that super useful. And for me, what I want to use the Bluetooth remote for is I want to be able to quickly and reliably press buttons on my camera without actually having to touch it. And it does do that, a pretty good job of that. And I can even record to the Ninja V when I'm using it, which is a great benefit to me and something I've talked about in previous videos. You can watch my suggested video at the end if you want to hear all the reasons why I use the Ninja V on the Z6 II, and it does work with that. However, if I was able to use one of the volume buttons as a focus button and one of the volumes buttons as a trigger, then I would be able to discreetly take pictures and remotely trigger the camera without having to look at my smartphone screen, which is not super helpful for what I generally use a Bluetooth remote for. Secondly, I wish that the phone would vibrate a tinge when I successfully press something. Obviously, the camera is going to make a shutter sound, but especially as we move more towards the shutterless future, of mirrorless cameras, that shutter sound's gonna get even quieter. If I laid out for you all of the different menu screens that you could see on the Nikon Snapbridge app, it would be a confusing, jumbled mess, and it's just too many menus and too many screens. It needs to just be simplified, cut down, trimmed down. I understand you design something and then people say, hey, you need to add this feature, and then you add another page for it. Hey, you need to add this feature. Oh, where does this go? I understand that can be a challenge, but it's gotta be simplified because right now it's just too much. There's too many pages and I can't just look at the phone and say, what do I want to do, and make a change and have it happen correctly. With both the Bluetooth remote and the remote photography, there is a distinct lack of critical information. I should be able to see all the great things that I see on my interface here and all of the things that are helpful and useful for me. So I want to see where my audio levels are bouncing. I want to see whether I have high dynamic range on, what focus mode am I in, where's the focus at. I need to see all these things if I'm going to actually operate my camera from my smartphone when I can't touch it. And the way that it locks you out of everything when you're doing remote photography and makes it so you have to do everything on the smartphone, that means everything has to work on the smartphone, and that's just not the case. Something that really bothers me about Snapbridge is they're always making me as a user choose between Wi-Fi mode and Bluetooth connection. I don't like always having to choose what the correct mode is. I feel like if I choose wrong, then certain features don't work, and that's just not a good place to be. With the Insta360 app, when you open it up, it uses a Bluetooth connection to start, and then it uses the Wi-Fi to get you connected completely, and everything works. Every time I try to use Snapbridge, whether I'm using it with a friend, take a picture of the two of us together, or going to family gatherings and taking pictures, I'm like, oh, I'll just use my phone to be the remote. And it always makes me look like a fool and an idiot, and I hate it. Just work. Connect my phone, make it work. Another thing I love about the Insta360 is that I can instantly change my settings, and it actually opens up the camera to me in a way that makes it better than using the camera that's in my hand. Now, obviously, Nikon is a company with a storied history of great camera controls, and you're out in the wild wilderness and you're able to operate your camera with gloves and use it correctly. That's all well and good. But with the Insta360 camera, I am able to operate the camera in a better way by connecting my smartphone. And there's nobody, even someone who loves Snapbridge and thinks it's fine, they would never claim that Snapbridge is better than operating the camera in the standard way. Now, obviously, there's times where you can't do that, and that's where Snapbridge would be great to have. I think about things like putting my camera maybe on a gimbal, or putting it up in a balcony and recording it using some kind of trigger to make it record that way. Like, these are the things that I would imagine myself doing and why I would want a smartphone app, and it just doesn't quite work. Yes, Nikon executives, if you're listening, and I know you are because I've said things in videos before and very soon after they become true, buy Insta360. It's a great investment, it's a great company. I know they're like going crazy sicko mode right now, and I think they're probably trying to find themselves getting to profitability, and that's why they're releasing so many products and trying to keep the hype train going. And I'm sure they would love to latch themselves onto a great big company that has longevity going for it. But I think Nikon needs Insta360, and hopefully Insta360 needs Nikon. But yeah, then you can bring your action cam dreams to bear. You can make great products by using the Insta360 brand, and you can hire their app developers to help Snapbridge get better, because I don't think it would take that long to make a better app. For example, I use an independent app that allows me to plug in my iPad to the Z6 II and get a great image preview and start and stop recording, and it's a wired connection, so it's even more secure. And it's an app that's not made by Nikon and not officially endorsed in any way, and it works great. It's responsive, and it actually always connects and behaves properly for me. So it is possible to make something really great without even Nikon's permission. And I just think if people at Nikon actually had really great software teams, they'd be able to make this app way, way, way better. And that's what would make me happy. So thanks once again for watching. I don't have any sponsors or anything like that, so a subscribe and a like really helps out my videos. Recommending my channel to other people who use Nikon products for video is really helpful. And if you're feeling like being generous, my Moment store link is down below. So if you're interested in Insta360 products or maybe some audio equipment that I use, you can go to the Moment and pick those things up. However, Nikon stuff is not on Moment Shop, so I can't recommend any of those products to you through that affiliate link, but there are other things that are helpful there.